welcome to Onesies, a podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew.
My name is Emily.
And we are back discussing World of Giants, episode 10 now, The Smugglers. Once again, directed by Nathan Jurin. This episode takes place in Washington, D.C. and China.
Hong
Kong, let's be yes, not mainland China, even though that is who our friends are acting on behalf of this week. So we open in Commissioner Hall's office with Mel over by his briefcase in a double layer composite shot because we now have the Capitol in the background.
Yeah.
Mel's composite is a little bit better than the Capitol out the window, which is funny. And Bill is reading a newspaper, which opens with it as a still, which you don't see very often. They didn't have that sweet static shot money.
And that still, or what they're focusing on, is relevant to the plot of the episode, and something about airmen being held hostage in China. U.S. airmen.
7 U.S. airmen spying on China, and they crashed and they can't be released. What was hilarious is that Commissioner Hall's explaining that the Chinese don't trust the Americans. They think X, Y, and Z. Mel's like, well, no, Commissioner, is there any truth to that?
I was kind of like half hoping. Well, I mean, obviously the writing on this in most shows, I suspect, in 1959 were not so involved, so deep, so not a lot of twists and turns, right? Pretty linear. But again, I thought, oh, this sounds like a typical spy show where actually the U.S. does know about it, and they know about it because they're trying to secret out some person of particular interest or some person who has some ancient documents, or I don't know, something like that. But no, alas and alack, we are watching World of Giants, not, I don't know, something
Gilligan's
else.
Island. World of Giants, I believe, has had one twist in 10 episodes, and we don't get it here.
Yeah.
Spoilers for later. But yes, so they do not go back to the office to visit with Brooke.
You just muted yourself.
Cool. I don't know how to do that. So that was not intentional.
Maybe I did it.
So, no, I'm in AirPods and I did something. So we do not go back to the apartment to see Brownie before they head off. There is a scene in China where I was hoping she was going to show up, even though I'd already read ahead. But they go immediately to Hong Kong. But we didn't really lay it out. So the Chinese don't want to return the 7 airmen until the U.S. does something about a American who is smuggling mainland Chinese to Hong Kong. So what you have is, for our younger listeners, Hong Kong was a British protectorate. Was that what it's called? Until 1999. And then it was returned to China, who promised there would be no changes for 50 years. And I believe they already lied about that. But that's where the title for Wong Kar-wai's 2046 comes from, even though it doesn't really have anything to do with Hong Kong anti-independence or whatever. Very interesting topic. Not important for discussing World of Giants. So they go to Hong Kong. And so, but basically, Bill and Mel are supposed to help the communist Chinese stop people escaping communism, is the plot of the movie, or the episode. Yeah. It's okay, though, because it'll turn out the coyotes are terrible, terrible people, as coyotes tend to be. So they get to Hong Kong. They go and meet with the council and a police inspector. The council will come back for a phone call later. The police inspector, despite actually knowing something about the case
Never comes
does not
back.
come back.
Yeah.
And also does not tell, he's like, you, Bill, you should go to this hotel, and doesn't really tell Bill why until after Bill's already checked in,
Yeah,
which is weird.
that was really weird, and it led me to think again. Oh, there's going to be some twist where this guy's going to be involved because he knows that this is where this guy stays. Whatever.
Yep. They get to the hotel. Bill's got a list of all the Americans living in China and Hong Kong. It's about 2 pages long. They go to the hotel. Mel is like lounging a lot of the time. At one point, Mel puts on a vest. Did you notice the vest?
I didn't notice the vest. I didn't notice the vest. I did know. I did notice when Bill left to go like seek out these other Americans living in Hong Kong. He was like back in the briefcase. Like it's like he was just hanging out in the briefcase.
Yeah,
that was fucking weird. But then, so he's like hanging out. He hears something. He gets out of the briefcase, and a local man, Chinese man, is sneaking around the room. And Mel hides behind a cup. Again, the scale, it was like a coffee cup. He was fully standing. I almost said fully erect. He was fully erect and able to hide behind this coffee cup. Scale was bad. Whatever. So the guy is going through some paperwork, and he's going through the newspaper, and he ends up going through the briefcase. We don't know what he's up to. He doesn't have any lines. But Bill comes back, and a little fisticuffs ensues, and the guy escapes. Mel tells Bill to leave him alone. He was just looking for information, which I thought was, again, what was he looking for? Why is he in your room? And he didn't steal anything. And why would you not want to find out what he was up to?
Yeah.
But no, they just let him go.
This episode too. Bill makes some bad choices. So, but the guy doesn't find anything necessarily. Like he looks through the briefcase. There's nothing really in the briefcase. He looks at handkerchiefs or something. Doesn't matter. Runs out, and then Bill forgot the list. Is why he's back so early too. One thing to go find the list. But they were like going to go find Bill was going to go on the list. Then they were going to go look at the docs together. That was something they were going to do. We never do that. Never go to the docs. Don't have doc money.
No.
So then like Bill gets a call from the inspector who's like, hey, your prime suspect just checked into that hotel. That's why I set you up there. And it's like, could have better communication. You could have done exposition dump on this too. Like it doesn't need to be a mystery. We then get this elaborate scene where Bill, and he takes Mel with him in the briefcase. We also need to talk about the briefcase a little because the briefcase is back big time this episode.
Yeah.
It was one of the stranger elements of the show in the early episodes was that Mel only went in this briefcase and seemingly was fine with that being the entirety of his existence, was sitting in his little doll chair.
Yeah.
But since he's gotten his little dollhouse, it would seem like that's not the case, but not for this episode. This episode, arguably this episode could have been filmed without Brownie having joined the show yet. Like we wouldn't know. Who knows? Who knows what the correct airing order is? They go downstairs where there's some guy reading a newspaper in the hotel lobby very suspiciously. We don't see his face. I was waiting the whole time for the reveal for it to either be a character we knew or for it to be a character or like a recognizable actor or something.
Yeah.
Heck no.
Yeah. No.
Bill looks at the register after demanding the clerk check his mailbox again, and then heads into the bar where, okay, So somebody checked into the hotel. They think that's the guy. The guy in the lobby is not the guy from the hotel. He's just meeting the guy at the hotel. He must be staying someplace else. But after Bill goes into the bar with Mel in the briefcase, uh, dude with his face obscured puts down the newspaper. It's absolutely no one we've seen, absolutely not an actor we would
No.
recognize, even in 1959. Goes over to the desk, calls the room, and tells his friend to come down in hushed tones. Friend comes down, gives something to the desk clerk, implying the desk clerk is in on it. Not
Again,
really clear.
never really comes back.
Doesn't come back.
No.
Guy running through the room doesn't come back. We don't know. They will know, they will quote unquote know Bill is an agent. I don't think they say the bureau.
No,
Also,
they call I think they call him a Fed at some point.
yeah. But there's no reason for them to know that really because the dude who was searching the room didn't find anything. It's just that Bill fought back and only feds can do that in
Yeah.
China, where the FBI can't legally function. So maybe it was the CIA. They're on loan to the CIA,
Maybe.
taking a break from doing a very bad job of trying to assassinate some duly elected official with brown skin somewhere.
Or some elected official that they put in power who is now a tyrant. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we liked those for longer than that, though. Takes a while before we get mad at them.
Yeah.
Who funded Saddam Hussein, folks? Anyway, so then who funded Osama bin Laden, folks? Anyway, um, there's a lady at the bar who we were worried. She is not in yellowface. She is not.
She's not.
She's in.
She's wearing clothes that a Chinese woman would wear. Her eye makeup
appropriated.
Her eye makeup is such that yeah, I don't know. She's not in yellowface necessarily. She looks like a white woman wearing a mandarin collared dress, right? Like she looks like some wannabe Audrey Hepburn, right?
Were
Poor
there
woman.
any Asian people in the bar?
In the bar, I don't remember. The desk clerk was, and the guy who snuck into their room in the beginning was.
Yes. Bill
and then
likes
on the boat, we don't see any. You hear just kind of gibberish being spoken in the background. They're not trying to sound like they're speaking Chinese, but so that's good. That's good. So they're just kind of like blah, 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 blah. You know, they're not. I can't even do it. I was going to do it, but I can't even do it.
So yeah, but the bar is entirely full of white people, even though, and most of them. So if you want to give them credit, if willful suspension of disbelief, they're British people.
Yes.
Based on accents, they're not British people. So basically, all Bill needed to do to find all the Americans was go down to this bar, and they were all hanging out there. So he watches the chick with the guy from the room. The guy from the room passes her a note. Bill then approaches her, tells her he's going to buy her a drink. She accepts, to which he then says, "You have to give me information." And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "I bought you a drink.
I bought you a drink. You owe me.
You owe me." So, of all the things Bill has said that women owe him for a drink, honestly, answering a couple questions is probably all right.
Yeah.
Yes,
but then he threatens her, too.
Threatens her? Yes.
Listen, lady, I'm a cop. I can make sure that you go to jail for a long time. What a fucking prick.
And she's like, "Okay, Bill, let's go then." And he's like, "Yeah, let's go." So they go out through the alley, which is where the heavy went to, the gun sill went to. And Bill does not seem to be paying a lot of attention. He's got the briefcase, but it's a complete and utter setup. She points to dude which is her signal to dude who's in hiding, who comes out and attacks Bill. Then the other guy from the lobby is also there kicking Bill's ass. What we had forgotten, of course, is that Bill is an expert at getting his ass kicked.
Like, yes, he is. He gets his ass kicked again.
He gets his ass kicked twice.
3 times in this episode.
3 times this episode?
The guy who snuck into the hotel.
Yeah, okay. But that was a fairer fight than these multiple guys beating the shit out of Bill until Bill can just take him. He's just got to charge up his batteries. So they're going to look in the briefcase, and they're like, why are you looking in the briefcase? That's fucking stupid. Just take it with you. So they just take the briefcase with them. We probably get inserts shots of Mel in distress, but I think it's mostly just like him laying at an angle. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
They go to their secret hideout, which is the boat. Mm-hmm. Bill is in a stateroom or something. We never see an exterior shot of the boat.
We never do.
Boat money. And so let's see. Mel has to sneak out of the briefcase before they catch him. He will do this and then traverse entire rooms without us getting to see this. Like the cut scene of Mel crawling through the between the walls must be more exciting. That's where the mouse was. The bear. Remember when he called the squirrel a bear for an episode?
Yeah.
It
was almost like they couldn't get any footage of a bear. Like they actually meant for it to be a bear, but it was a squirrel.
But not this episode, folks. We don't have any cute animals. I don't know what I'm going to use for the cover art then. But then Bill has been playing possum, and he wakes up to try to kick ass, and he gets his ass kicked. Holds his own for a little bit, then gets his ass kicked. They go through the briefcase, and they're like, I thought you said this was an agent. Why the hell does he just have a doll chair in here? Like, what is wrong with you? Why would we assault some guy who just has a doll chair? And he's like, hey, he's got to be an agent. So then we get we get to meet the mastermind, who is nobody. Guy doesn't even have his face on Wikipedia or on IMDb. So like, he's not even somebody who's got kids who wanted to make sure that people could recognize him. So they talk about their plan, and they're like, we're smuggling people. If we get in any trouble, we're going to dump them overboard, fucking drown them, because we're shitty white people, men specifically. Though women would do it too. No offense. I'm pretty sure white women would probably.
No offense taken.
Yeah. Okay. And then Mel goes to the radio and he calls the console and says, hey, it's Bill. Hey, it's Mel. And he's like, who the fuck is Mel? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. My name is Bill Winters. We met earlier. He's like, oh, how are you, Bill? And he's like, I need you to send some destroyers to intercept. And he's like, okay. Then I think, what happens next? They get the people.
Mel says, you have to wait until we have the evidence. So don't come yet, but I'll send out some signal when we have the cargo, i.e. the mainland Chinese people. And then you can come and do your business. And then I think, doesn't Bill get beat up again some more?
Does he get beat up? I don't know.
But at some point you hear, again, this is when you hear but don't see, a bunch of people get on the boat, and it's just sort of like distance and nonsense. But again, not racist nonsense, which it very easily could have been. And then there's a scene where Mel is trying to do the thing he told the consulate he would do, which is like put the radio on some frequency that all of the local warships would be looking out for. And so he's like pushes a book over and uses that book to press the button. And it's, again, it takes a little bit longer than it needs to.
on the teletype machine or the Morse code machine, whatever, that's after we get the lengthy sequence of Mel being trapped in the radio while they are sending off the signal and it's
Oh, yeah.
loud and hot, which
Yes.
let me tell you, watching that in bed with your sleeping spouse, they are not happy when they wake up to that sound.
No,
Um, and it goes
I'm
on
sure
forever. It goes on
it does.
forever. Um, but it's so loud. I mean, even if you weren't watching it with headphones, even if you were just, I mean, it is a loud, annoying thing. And yes, Mel reacts to it, but not to the degree that he really ought to be. Like he should
Yeah.
be doubled over and his ears should be bleeding, um, if not entirely blown out. So we get the bad guy's Morse coding that he's got the cargo and they're on their way. Mel, does the frequency thing even matter? It doesn't, does it? It's just something they said.
It only matters in that that's what the U.S. sailors are going to be listening
Okay.
for
But
and tracking it so they know where to go.
yeah. So yes, and
Because
then he knocks
that's
over.
part of the problem is that they don't know what the boat looks like. They don't know where it is exactly, and they've only they've only ever been able to like they can't do anything in international waters. There was a conversation about that
But they
about
have to do it in international waters, something like that.
something like that. Something about international waters. Yeah.
That's why the Americans haven't taken care of it. Now, the scene where Mel called the console seemed very much like we were going to pull back to a shot of the console and the police inspector being in on it. It does
Yeah.
not pull back to that. It's
No.
nothing. It's just a protracted, okay, Mel, or okay, Bill, when you send a signal on 003 megahertz, I will send the destroyers. Confirmed.
Yeah.
Confirmed console. Um, got to pad to that 23 minutes there. So then Mel goes back to Bill's room and frees him with a razor
A
blade.
razor blade. Haven't seen that. Don't know
Nope,
where that came from.
we get this composite shot of Bill's hands and then these ropes in between them that are in Mel's shot. And so he's cutting at them. So talking about the special effects, some big time special effects this episode. The cup, there was a giant cup made that Mel could hide behind earlier. The books were giant, probably 14-foot tall books, fake books that they use. So, they went all out on a couple things, three of them. Bill gets free. The Coast Guard or whatever shows up. Pandemonium as the smugglers are trying to like throw the Chinese mainlanders overboard. A ostensibly Chinese gentleman runs into the room being chased. Bill, I think Mel calls out, Bill, you need to stop him. And we only see this guy's face for a second. It's not going to be the cover art because I think he's got teeth in. I think it's a white guy playing a Chinese guy, and it's so bad looking that they didn't like let him have his face on screen. But
Yikes.
I'm pretty sure I saw teeth. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're lucky. But yeah. So then the other guys come in to grab this guy to throw him overboard. Bill fights back, defeats all the bad guys. An extra comes in, playing one of the landing party from the boat. He's a Marine because Bill says Semper Fi, and the guy doesn't get any lines. He just nods and heads out with the evidence of this person. And then we cut to the consul's office.
Yeah.
Where the consul says,
you sounded, when you called the other day, you sounded so strong and so much bigger and so masculine. And God, you got me hard just listening to
I know. It's just like, just wanted you to fuck the hell out of me, Bill. Like, what was it? Can you bring back that energy? And I don't know if we cut to Mel, but we like
Yeah,
slowly
we
zoom
do.
into the fucking briefcase, and Mel's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He's like,
me.
yeah, that's me. I'm gonna fuck this guy. I'm gonna climb into this guy's asshole.
That's in The Boys. You should check out The Boys.
I should. I should. I
Yeah,
love Carl Urban.
yep, he's great. So yeah, and that's the end of it. Basically, I
That,
think. Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, of course, because of my remote viewing, I do not have this pulled up
your
for
literal
next
remote
week.
viewing. You've gotten into remote viewing. I didn't know that was real, but that's cool.
Yeah. What is this show called? World of Giants. So this is
That's not what
episode
they call
10.
it on screen. What do they call it on screen? What do they?
You're
What do
never going to
they?
trick me. I'm too smart for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Um,
Holy shit!
so this is episode 10. There are 13 episodes. Next week, oh my God, we are so close to being done. Next week's
This
episode
is
is The Unexpected Murder, or Unexpected Murder, I guess.
is Brownie back at least? She is.
Bill
We got some
discovers
more ladies.
Bill discovers that a pharmacist at a local drugstore, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is an ex-convict involved in a Lonely Hearts racket. During a routine investigation, Mel learns that Joe is preying on Sandra, the wife of the drugstore proprietor. Powerless to resist his physical attraction, obviously. Sandra is helping him smuggle counterfeit notes out of the country to undermine the economy of a small foreign nation, unnamed. Bill returns to the drugstore only to be knocked unconscious by Joe because he can't help himself. Mel throws down a bottle of smelling salts, which revives Bill. Why are they giving away so many plot points? Whatever. And they capture Joe, who's about to kill Dave Vernon, the proprietor. Sandra tries to save her husband, realizes her sins, Jesus Christ, and is reunited with
Well,
him.
as we've already established with Brownie, you women can't keep it together. You can't keep it in your pants, and you really jeopardize the mission. That's what I've learned from this show. Yeah. So I bet it's going to be super exciting from that description. Is it Nathan Jern again, or do we have somebody a little bit better?
Oh, I don't know.
Jack Arnold, director of Creature from the Black Lagoon, director of The Incredible Shrinking Man, director of many episodes of Gilligan's Island. So you burned out bad if you started in the 50s. So that'll be
Wow.
interesting. Jack Arnold. Okay, I like Jack Arnold. He worked with William Land at Universal on a bunch of movies that you've probably even heard of, but not this one. Um, yeah, so cool. It'll be nice to see Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I haven't seen him in anything since Beverly Hills Cop 4. So that'll be fun.
Well, thank you all for joining us. Andrew, I will see you in television land. And also, thank you, Andrew, for limiting all of your racist Chinese talk so that editing will be super simple and I can get this to you probably by the end of the day today. Thank you, Andrew. I'll see you in television land.
See you in television land, Emily.